Namaste. Welcome to yet another episode of Politics 360 Focus Tamil Nadu by Thought Habitat Speaks. The much awaited election of the year, Tamil Nadu Assembly elections, is over. So, this being a waveless election and an election with the weapons of Jayalalitha and Karunanidhi, this is pretty interesting to us. And moreover, we have more players in the field. Kamal Hassan's Makkal Nidhi Mayyam, followed by TTV Dhanakaran's Amma Makkal Munnetra Kalagam, and then we have Naam Thamilar Katchi by Seeman. You know, this is in fact a very confusing election, and all pollsters across India have been telling this that for the first time, and I mean, always it has been the same. Tamil Nadu elections were always been unpredictable, and this time it is far more unpredictable than anything. And most importantly, people are looking at one thing: what's going to be the impact of Bharatiya Janata Party in these elections? Does the Modi hatred exist even now? So, what is going to be the impact of Kushbu Sundar in Thousand Lights? And what is going to be the impact of Annamalai in Aravakurchi? Do they do they stand a chance to win? To answer all these questions, we once again have Mr. Lakshmi Narayan Sundar, our erstwhile political commentator, political analyst, and a multifaceted personality. He doesn't need an introduction, he's been with us, and yet again, he's there with us to answer all our questions about BJP and the Tamil Nadu Assembly elections. Sir, again, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining. And I hear that you've been in the campaign trails across Tamil Nadu all these days. And I'm so happy to have you here again.
Thank you, Arvind. Yes, uh, we have been traveling for some time, but I picked up only two constituencies, Karakudi for H. Raja and then Tittakudi, Tada Periyasamy, because I had my corona vaccination in between. Because of that, I could cover. But generally, when we sit and campaign, we get information from other constituency. So I'm very much aware what's happening around, at least in the 20 constituencies where BJP is contesting. Let us see. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, sir, my first question is, the polling percentage has been around 72 to 73% based on the official data which the Election Commission has announced now today. Okay, and what is more interesting is whenever there is an anti-incumbency wave or whenever a government has been there for more than 10 years, always the polling percentage in urban pockets have been high, right? In 2014, if we see, in urban pockets, we saw very high polling percentage. But whereas contrary to that, we have seen that urban pockets in Tamil Nadu in this assembly election has been less. Chennai has recorded the lowest, Chengalpat has recorded the lowest, then Tirunelveli, Madurai, Coimbatore, all these important urban pockets or the semi-urban pockets as well. I must say they have recorded very less polling percentage. But on the contrary, we have also seen that villages have seen a very high voting percentage. Edappadi, where our chief minister is contesting from, has seen the highest, and Thiruvannamalai has seen the highest polling percentage. So, and also in Chennai, what I have seen personally is many women have come in large numbers to vote. So, what does it mean? In your opinion, is it advantage ADMK or advantage DMK?
Let me explain this way. First, 2019, same April month, we had parliamentary election. The percentage was 72.45. Now, after 2 years, same April, we have 72.80. almost same. But that time we had noticed definitely anti-Modi wave and anti-BJP. Also, there was definitely big propaganda that Modi would lose this election as he has lost 5 states and all the by-polls for parliament. So the opinion polls were also predicting hung parliament. So Tamils preferred, always there was this anti-Modi feeling, and they preferred to vote against Modi in a big way. That was sort of anti-incumbency to Modi's first 5 years rule. That was from Tamil Nadu side. That time the percentage was 72.45, and still DMK could plus manage a big victory. But after that 2 years, absolutely no anti-incumbency, and ADMK government was giving whatever freebies or jobs to public in such a way the women voters are very much attracted. So same percentage getting repeated without anti-incumbency, I feel, and also seeing large number of women voting, I feel that ADMK will have this advantage, although it is same percentage as 2019. And again, I want to tell you, Coimbatore South recorded 62%. Now it is 60.8. And Chennai, always it is around 60% only. And now it has come down to 58%, with a couple of constituencies recording 55, 56%. But the area which you say, Mr. Edappadi, there you had a poll last time, it was 84%. And Aravakurchi, after our Sendil Balaji entered there in ADMK or DMK, the percentage due to money movement was always 85%. Now it has seen 88.7%. So a couple of other constituencies you were mentioning also had in 2016 and 2019 high percentage poll. So people are maintaining the same, but there are certain things which we found or we could analyze on the ground that gives a lot of confidence that this time the ADMK plus could continue with their governance.
Wonderful, sir. Yeah. And sir, my next question is, so you were telling that in Karekudi and Thittakudi, you've been campaigning partly for Mr. H. Raja and Mr. Thada Periyasamy, right? So, Thittakudi, Thiruvannamalai, and Tirukkovilur exactly, where Mr. Ponmudi from DMK is contesting. You know, these constituencies are pretty tough for BJP to contest. You know, even if you could look at the historical data, BJP would have garnered votes in 4 digits. Like it could be 1,000 or 5,000 or 8,000 in that range, right? And this time, ADMK has officially given it to BJP, and BJP somehow managed to contest it. And you know, even in those places, in Tiruvannamalai, as I mentioned, especially, the polling percentage has been high. And the Bail Yatra taken forward by Mr. L. Murugan, your BJP state president. So, with this higher percentage of polling in those pockets, do we see it as advantage BJP? Because because I see it as a Hindu consolidation measure. Is that happening in your opinion?
No, I can't say that because Karakudi, it is a triangular contest where it is tough. Congress, AMMK, and BJP. A tough fight. I can't predict anything there. Regarding Thittakudi, the candidate is a very strong person, Thada Periyasamy, who in fact started DPI, that is Dalit Panther movement of India, and later on that is called Vidudalai Sirthaigal. From there, I mean, he moved to BJP in 2003, and there he commands full respect of being this is a reserved constituency for Dalits. All Dalits, they simply adore him. And also, Vidudalai Sirthekal, they are after him. I didn't see much of ADMK people showing their enthusiasm, but still, although the opinion polls were giving a big gap between the current MLA, DMK Ganesan and Tada Periyasamy, I could see absolutely zero anti-BJP or anti-Modi feeling there. In fact, women are all very happy with this 2,500 Pongal gift, and they say they look forward to May, June months when they would get this 1,500 per month assured by Edappadi, and also Modi ji schemes, the gas stove cylinder and a couple of other measures taken during Corona. They are very happy with that, and women uniformly, not only in Thittakudi, whether it is Karakudi or anywhere in Tamil Nadu, women now more enthusiastic towards ADMK plus. And Tada Periyasamy being a good candidate, and I think he has his own command. If at all he misses, that would be, I mean, 1 or 2,000 votes. But I am getting report now that polling in Thittakudi is 75%, and good chances of Tada Periyasamy coming forward. More than Hindu consolidation, I would call the, I think in the earlier conversation also I mentioned, this time women votes, like it was for MGR and Jayalalitha, it is with Edappadi. That can be a game changer. That can happen in Thittakudi also, because I was on ground and met 3,000 women exactly. And they were all uniformly saying that they want Edappadi's government and Periyasamy as their MLA.
Yeah. And sir, my next question is about your star candidate, Khushbu Sundar. You know,
No,
I stay in
about 1,000
Alvarpet
lights,
and I have, yes, sir.
1,000 lights is only, I think, 56% polling.
Yeah.
See, Khushbu Sundar was focusing on morning workers, the elite crowd of 1,000 lights, and a lot of corporate employees. I mean, she was visiting slum area also, and humble people she was meeting. But still, the other side, whom she depended more, and I think they didn't turn up for the voting. I feel on seeing the percentage. So it's a question mark, because DMK did groundwork very well there, and Kushbu also did equally. I would put it now, because of the low percentage, 50-50, probably the mass or the mass going with the DMK, and the people whom Kushbu depended, they have not turned up for the voting. But still, it's open, 50-50, tough fight.
That's interesting. And sir, my next question is on Coimbatore South. You know, Vanati Srinivasan by default has been a choice for BJP for Coimbatore South, right? And also, you know, we all were taken by shock when Kamal Hassan announced that he's going to contest from Coimbatore South. You know, but again, she being a woman candidate, Vanati Srinivasan being a women candidate, she would definitely have the edge. That's what I believe personally. And also, like, while talking to some of the women in my closer circles, I've been hearing that they telling that I voted for Kamal Hassan because we need change, we need a person like him. So, and also, like, this has been very prevalent even before the elections. You know, wherever Kamal Hassan went, it was more of the women crowd and the youngsters crowd that he gathered, that he garnered, in fact. So, does it mean mass women turning up could be for Kamal Hassan as well?
No, what I get reports from Coimbatore is that Vanati will make it. So see, the youngsters, probably youth, they might have gone for Kamala Hassan. But Vanati has been continuing there with all the welfare schemes of Modi ji. And I think 90% of the women, I mean, new voters, college girls, I'm not very much aware where, I mean, whom they are going to vote. But ladies 30 plus, they are with her. And being a triangular contest, and Kamala Hassan is an outsider, Coimbatore people are quite sensitive on this. Outsider, insider, all that. I think she would make it definitely. I mean, reports also confirm now large women have voted for her, and among the three, she is leading. That is how it will go.
And sir, what's the impact of Amma Makkal Munnetra Kalagam? Other than Karaikudi, if you look at down south, what is the impact that Amma Makkal Munnetra Kalagam is making? Because Mr. TTV Dhanakaran himself is contesting from Kovilpatti, and it is believed that the entire surrounding of the entire neighborhood of Kovilpatti, the district and the nearby districts would also feel the heat. So, what is your opinion? Is he making an impact?
Definitely, definitely. I know few cadres of Amma Makka Munnetra Kazhagam Katchi. They confidently say their alliance with OIC and Vijayakant. I mean, three parties together. Couple of other parties also they are having alliance. And in 48 constituencies, they are confident they are crossing 10,000 votes. That means that is dent on ADMK votes, definitely. They are confident. So they will be crossing 10,000 in 35 and alliance partners in 13. That's what they are saying. But I feel that 5 or 6 places they would be strong, and other places they would just fizzle out with 1 or 2 percentage. Because when it is really war and the people are going to vote, they would definitely show their loyalty to Edapadi, and they would have voted for ADMK only. And again, it is see, Dinakaran always say that Amma and the ladies are with Sasikala and his party. But I don't see, they don't even mention his name. All the women are after Edapadi and his schemes. And they look forward more to this monthly 1,500 assured. So AMMK and their alliance would make a difference in 10 constituencies maximum. In the other places, I don't think they would cross a 2% votes.
But sir, again, as you said, they might have the edge with 10,000 and more votes. But
48
isn't it,
places.
yeah, on 10 places and more, and 48 places, as you said, but isn't it curbing the victory margin of ADMK?
Not only victory margin. See, this 5 point, I mean, contests the happening. I mean, Kamala Hassan, Dinakaran, Seaman, then DMK and the ADMK. So it would be photo finish. I mean, we won't even know the exact leading positions on 2nd May. In that situation, definitely any split in a parties or in a alliance votes, definitely that would create impact on the success of that party. We have to wait and see. I mean, at least in 10, 12, ADMK might lose the seat because of the not only margin, even losing the seat might happen because AMMK plus is splitting the votes.
Okay, that's an important point to note. And sir, one last question. So,
Yes.
you earlier predicted that ADMK could win 130 seats, right? In our last interview. So, what is your prediction now, post the elections?
My prediction, if you ask me, ADMK plus is 125 to 130 with BJP getting 6 seats. And DMK plus is getting 95 to 100 seats. This I'm sticking, and I have analyzed whole of this day, constituency-wise polling percentage, and also who are all contesting. I'm confident ADMK plus would get 125 to 130.
That's pretty interesting, sir. And yeah, the heat is on in Tamil Nadu. And May 2nd is going to be the D Day for Stalin as well as Edapadi. Whose political career is going to continue and whose political career is going to fall? And fate of BJP after May 2nd, fate of Kamala Hassan and Amma Makkal Munnetra Kalagam as well as Nam Tamilar and other parties, Everything has to be seen. You know, this is the most confusing election and this is the most interesting election Tamil Nadu has ever seen.
You
So
have
let us
omitted
wait and
DMK.
watch.
Fate of you have omitted DMK. Fate of DMK also to be decided
Yeah, that's what I
after May
said. So
2nd.
Stalin and Edappadi. So whose political career
Oh,
is going to continue and whose political career is going to fall? That we'll wait and see
okay.
on May 2nd.
Okay, Mr. Stalin in that. Yes, I'm optimistic. This is very much optimistic view that ADMK plus would cross 125.
Great, sir. And once again, it was a great conversation with you. I'm looking forward for more such conversations in the coming days. Thank you so much. So thank
Thank
you
you.
so much,
Thank you.
viewers, for watching this video. So May 2nd is going to be the D-Day. So let us wait and watch.